If you eat at these 6 popular restaurants, you might get more on your plate than you bargained for. You might want to finish this video before you finish your fries, because once you know what these chains are hiding, your appetite might disappear faster than a half-price daily special. Let's start with Burger King, the kingdom of the flame-grilled burger. In theory, because in practice the flame is mostly a marketing gimmick. Former employees have revealed that in many locations, the patties arrive frozen and are simply passed through an automatic broiler that simulates grill marks. Several health inspections have noted inadequate storage temperatures for meat, fryers where the oil is only changed once a week, and countertops cleaned with rags reused all day long. A former crew member shared that the real flame-grilled burger is the one you make at home on the weekend. Here, it's a heating element and a lot of hope. A viral video showed a real Whopper placed next to its advertisement photo. The result went viral across the internet. The lettuce hung off the sides like a forgotten plant. The patty itself was half the size expected, and the sauce had soaked through the bottom half of the bun. One comment summed up the situation perfectly. They sold a dream and delivered a lukewarm disappointment. The drinks are no exception. Maintenance technicians have reported that soda fountains in several Burger King locations had mold buildup in the internal lines, never visible from the counter, but definitely there behind the panels. That cola you're sipping might be passing through pipes that no one has cleaned in weeks. And if you thought breakfast was a safe bet, employees have described liquid eggs delivered in industrial cartons, poured into molds, and reheated on demand. That ham and egg muffin has as much in common with a fresh egg as fruit juice does with real fruit. Now let's move on to Subway, the chain that presents itself as healthy, fresh, and a sandwich expert. But fresh is a strong word when your tuna is the butt of every joke. Several laboratory analyses conducted in recent years have questioned the presence of real tuna in their tuna sandwiches. A scientific study revealed that no amplifiable tuna DNA was detected in the samples tested. It's like biting into a peanut butter and jelly sandwich only to find neither peanuts nor fruit. Just a vaguely slimy substance. Former employees have reported stories of mystery meat with expiration labels peeled off and replaced. One of them even posted a photo of a chicken bin where the "Do Not Use After Tuesday" note had been crossed out and replaced with a new date. A customer once opened their sandwich to find a translucent chicken strip that looked more like a wet tissue than food. Reviews described the texture as rubbery, spongy, and potentially from another planet. Even the vegetables don't always measure up. A viral image from one location showed brown lettuce, half-rotten tomatoes, and cucumbers that looked like they'd been soaked in mop water. Health inspections at several outlets revealed poor temperature management, the presence of pests, and improper glove use. An inspector reported that an employee wiped a countertop with a rag, then immediately used the same rag to wipe some lettuce. It is not just unhygienic, it is total salad sabotage. This chain's bread also has its own story. In a European country, a court ruled that it contained too much sugar to be legally considered bread. In reality, the bread used for the sandwiches contains more sugar per serving than some donuts. That chicken sandwich that seems light to you is actually pretending to be something it's not. You're essentially eating a cake topped with deli meat. And let's not even mention the way they toast the bread. One user posted a comparison photo. His bread was so unevenly toasted it looked like it had fallen asleep halfway through a tanning session, and yet this chain remains one of the most widespread in the fast food world. Not because the food is good, but because it's cheap, familiar, and ubiquitous. But cheap and familiar doesn't mean clean and safe. Next time you reach for a low-priced sandwich, remember it could cost you your dignity and your digestive system. Now for KFC, the kingdom of crispy chicken and the secret recipe of 11 herbs and spices. A formula that sounds like a dream, until you look at how that chicken gets to your plate. Investigations in several countries have revealed that some KFC suppliers practice intensive farming in concerning sanitary conditions. Crowded chickens, mass antibiotic treatments, and slaughterhouses with hygiene standards sometimes far below what the colorful logo suggests. A former supply manager admitted that the secret recipe is mostly an industrial manufacturing secret. Former employees describe fryers where the oil is only changed at the end of the week, regardless of the volume of chicken fried in between. The result? dark, heavy oil that gives the day's last portions an acrid aftertaste and a much darker color than at lunch. Inspections also noted improper thawing issues, with chicken left at room temperature for hours instead of being thawed in a cold room. A video posted by a customer showed a piece of chicken with meat still pink on the inside, despite a golden brown breading on the outside. The comments were immediate. The outside lies, the oven too, it seems. The side dishes are no exception. Powdered mashed potatoes reconstituted with hot water, coleslaw prepared in large quantities in the morning and left for hours in poorly adjusted refrigerated bins, and biscuits delivered frozen, then reheated on demand. This family meal that you order with confidence was assembled from bags, powders, and industrial freezing. The secret recipe, however, is well guarded. The rest, much less so. Now let's talk about Domino's Pizza, the chain that promises fast delivery and a hot pizza. Two promises that hide a much less appetizing reality. First, the dough. It arrives at the locations in the form of pre-portioned and refrigerated dough balls, delivered several times a week by refrigerated trucks. It's not a pizza maker kneading your dough in the morning. It's a food processing plant that made it several days before you ordered it. Employees have revealed that dough balls, sometimes close to their expiration date, are still used, resulting in a dough that rises poorly, stays compact in the center, and is too thin on the edges. One customer posted a photo of a pizza whose center was still raw after 20 minutes in the oven. The customer service response, "We are sorry for your experience," which didn't help her digest it. The tomato sauce arrives in large industrial cans and is spread with a spatula without any prior cooking. The cheese, a mixture of dairy analog and real cheese in varying proportions depending on supplies, melts unevenly and can leave greasy, unmelted areas. Inspections have noted cleaning problems with conveyor ovens in several establishments, with charred topping residues accumulating and potentially contaminating subsequent pizzas. A maintenance technician described the interior of an uncleaned Domino's oven as a museum of burnt pizza. And fast delivery, this central promise of the brand, generates its own risks. Delivery drivers have admitted to being under intense pressure to meet deadlines, which sometimes means pizzas taken out of the oven before being fully cooked to save a few minutes. You open the box, everything looks perfect. But at the first bite, the dough resists and the cheese slides off in a block. It's not a pizza, it's a race against time wrapped in cardboard. Let's move on to Otacos, the chain that has conquered millions of customers with its giant tacos, homemade sauces, and extra large sizes. A rapid success story built on a catchy concept. But behind the neon lights and the queues hide practices that deserve a closer look. Former employees have described extreme production pressure, especially during peak hours, which leads to dangerous shortcuts. Meats are sometimes reheated several times instead of being thrown away after their regulatory shelf life. Bins of ground beef or chicken start their second or even third reheating during service without anyone checking the temperatures. A former team member testified that during busy weekend shifts, temperature checks are simply abandoned. "We serve, we move on, we don't ask questions." Homemade sauces, the brand's main selling point, are prepared in large quantities and kept in refrigerated bins, sometimes at the wrong temperature. Customers have reported sour-tasting sauces, a sign that fermentation has begun. The company's responses on social media remain vague and defensive. The meat used in the tacos is often low-end, with a high fat content that partly explains the soft texture and strong taste. It's not a flaw in itself, but combined with sketchy storage conditions, it creates a breeding ground for bacteria. One customer posted a photo of his taco split in two. The meat was gray in the center, clearly undercooked. The comments poured in. One of them said, "It's not a taco, it's a survival test." Another, "I ordered a meal, not a gamble." Kitchen cleanliness is also being called into question. Videos filmed in the kitchen by former employees show cluttered work surfaces, spilled sauces left unwiped, and utensils reused without being cleaned in between. For a brand that bets everything on a festive and generous image, the reality behind the scenes is much less appetizing. We've reviewed 5 restaurants, each with its own disturbing secrets. But the 6th is perhaps the most surprising of all. A place you probably pass every day, the one where the ice cream machine is always broken, where the burgers look perfect in ads but pathetic in reality, and where the smell of frying is stronger than your survival instinct. You guessed it, McDonald's. McDonald's is much more than a restaurant. It's a global symbol present in over 100 countries with billions of meals served. But if you think the world's most iconic fast food chain has spotless kitchens and standards that live up to its reputation, think again. Behind the golden arches lies a long list of questionable practices, shocking employee confessions, and health alerts that should give any customer pause before ordering. Let's start with that famous broken ice cream machine. It's become such a widespread joke that entire websites now track whether your local McDonald's has a working soft-serve machine. But it's not just a matter of inconvenience. Several former employees and managers have confirmed that the real reason for these repeated breakdowns is an intense and time-consuming cleaning cycle. The machine must be taken apart, sterilized, and reassembled in a process that takes hours. Many locations simply skip this step or leave the machine off to avoid the chore. One employee said, "It's either broken, fake broken, or developing its own ecosystem inside." There's also the myth of consistency. While McDonald's claims every flagship burger should taste the same everywhere, reality tells a different story. Employees from different cities shared photos of ground beef patties kept at improper temperatures, cheese slices sweating under heat lamps, and lettuce that seemed cryogenically frozen, then revived by electric shock. A viral video of a kitchen tour showed crates of bread stacked directly on the floor next to a mop bucket. Questionable hygiene, definite efficiency, appetite gone. The most disturbing accounts come from night shift employees who reveal that deep cleaning is often rushed or skipped entirely to close up faster. A former employee reports being instructed to serve fries from a deep fryer where the oil hadn't been changed for 3 days. The fries had a bitter aftertaste and came out looking darker than usual. Management solution: add extra salt and hope that nobody notices. Regarding the meat, McDonald's promotes 100% beef, but that doesn't mean high-quality cuts. Ground beef patties are generally made from low-grade meat, heavily processed, frozen, and delivered in bulk. Additives are mixed in to ensure consistency, and the meat is cooked on automated grills that leave no room for customization or care. If it's slightly undercooked or overcooked, it's served anyway. A whistleblower showed how some locations scrape cooking residue from undercooked patties, reheat them, and serve them again. And if you think the chicken fares any better, think again. Chicken nuggets are often frozen for weeks before they end up in the fryer. A leaked video from an industrial supplier showed the preparation of the nugget paste. A pink mixture made by grinding meat and additives, molded, frozen, and packaged like construction bricks. McDonald's claims the process has improved in recent years, but former employees still describe nuggets as little cubes of carnivorous mystery. A customer bit into one and found only emptiness inside, which might just be the healthiest thing they served all day. Health inspection data from various regions report repeated failures, improper storage, dirty surfaces, and employees not washing their hands between tasks. An inspector noted that an employee handled raw meat, touched their headset, then served fries without gloves or washing their hands. It's not a value meal, it's a health risk. And while corporate policies may boast high standards, the reality on the ground is often very different. One of the most underestimated problems involves the drink dispensers. These sleek touchscreen dispensers are rarely cleaned as thoroughly as they should be. Mold, syrup buildup, and tubes teeming with sticky bacteria are commonplace. A technician who services these machines shared that what's found behind the panel is often worse than a student's fridge on day 50. Think twice before ordering that large, sweet tea. The appeal of McDonald's is undeniable: fast, cheap, and always open. But this convenience comes with shortcuts, and those shortcuts can have consequences. Employees are often underpaid, overworked, and trained to prioritize speed over hygiene. A former crew member summed it up like this: clean enough to pass inspection, fast enough to make a profit. That's not exactly the recipe you'd want behind your burger. And let's talk about the taste. While the fries are legendary, as soon as they cool down, they go from golden and crispy to limp and rubbery. The burgers often have that flat, lifeless texture that makes you doubt they were ever juicy. One customer review simply said, "It tastes like a memory of meat." The sauces do all the work, and without them, the sandwiches fall apart like a wet cardboard box. Even the breakfast menu, though loved by many, is not spared. The eggs used in some preparations are pre-cooked and arrive as frozen patties. The pancakes are industrially produced and delivered frozen, then reheated on a grill that may not have been cleaned since the night before. An employee revealed that the maple syrup arrives in huge industrial bags that sometimes leak and attract flies. It's not syrup, it's a health violation with a maple scent. And yet, millions of people eat at McDonald's every day, not because it's good, but because it's accessible, predictable, and familiar. And that familiarity becomes dangerous when it stops people from asking questions. The truth is that many of the big restaurant chains don't survive on quality, but on convenience and marketing. The food is designed to be just tasty enough, just cheap enough, and just fast enough to keep you coming back, even if your stomach has a different opinion. But once you've lifted the veil, seen the frozen meat, the neglected machines, the sloppy preparations, it's hard to pretend you don't know. You start to notice the cold burger, the soggy bun, the fries that smell strangely like cleaning products. You realize that billions of meals served might just mean billions of people fooled. And suddenly, the low-priced menu seems much more expensive than it appears. So what's the lesson to be learned? It's not that all restaurants are bad. It's not that every meal eaten out is going to poison you. But the reality is that these 6 brands have built a reputation for cutting corners in a way that can affect your health, your wallet, and your trust. The common thread: speed over quality, image over substance, savings over customer care. Not all food is created equal. Popular doesn't mean clean. Advertised doesn't mean true. And cheap doesn't mean you won't pay for it later. Whether it's in the form of stomach cramps, disappointment, or a new search session to understand why your burger tasted like household cleaner. Eating at a restaurant should be a pleasure, not a lottery. And if your gut tells you something is wrong, it probably is. Trust your senses. Question appearances and perhaps save your appetite for places that respect both your taste buds and your safety. Because at the end of the day, food should nourish you, not fool you. Restaurants won't always tell you what's really going on behind their kitchen doors, but we will. If this has given you food for thought, share this video with someone who still believes that frozen industrial meals are real gastronomy. Thank you for watching us. And remember, the truth is not always on the menu.